Good morning once again, my dear brothers and sisters. Congratulations to the Nicaragua. No, they won the Miss Universe last night. I know a beauty pageant is not famous in this part of the world, but then back in our country, there's something. So congratulations again to the Nicaraguan community, if there are somebody here. The readings that we have just proclaimed, my dear brothers and sisters, especially the gospel taken from the evangelist Matthew, it was taken from the chapter 25. Actually, in this particular chapter, my dear friends, it contains 3 parables, this particular chapter of Saint Matthew. The first parable is about the 10 virgins. It was the gospel yesterday, celebrated as Father Rob as our presider. And the second parable is about the talents, the parable that we are going to contemplate on this Sunday celebration. And the third parable is about the last judgment that we will come to celebrate next Sunday on the feast of the Cristo Rey, Kristong Hari, or the Christ as the King of the universe. So, we have learned last Sunday about the parable of the virgins, that the 5 wise women were admitted to the wedding feast because they were found worthy. They were found ready. They kept the lamp burning with light. Meaning to say, they were able to maintain their faith. They kept the faith alive with love in their hearts. That's why they were able to enter into that wedding feast, prepared himself by the groom. The second parable, we have the parable of the talents. So we heard from the proclamation of the gospel that the 2 industrious servants, they were able also to receive the joy of the master because they were also ready. When the master comes back, they were able to grow the talents that that the master had given to them. So that is why they enjoy the table celebration of his master. So, but then for those who are unwise, the foolish virgins, and then this third servant in our gospel today, they were unready. They were not ready. So they were thrown out of the darkness. Wherein there is this gnashing of teeth and weeping. And the third parable about the last day or the last judgment, well, you will have to attend Mass again next Sunday. And I hope you will not be shaking hands with these foolish virgins or the other the wicked or lazy servant because you have not attended the last parable. So, to continue, my dear friends, with our reflection today, the parables that we are trying to reflect, it is about the second coming of our Lord Jesus. That we are being taught to become vigilant, to become ready, because nobody knows when will be the coming of the Son of Man. Nobody knows the day, the exact date, or the exact time that the Son of Man will be coming back to us. So that is why the parable today is simply teaching us to become faithful steward of all the things, of all the talents that our God has entrusted to us. We are called to become faithful to all the responsibilities that we have. May it be ordinary or extraordinary, may it be simple task or responsibility. In the first reading that we have read, that we have just proclaimed, it was from the book of Proverbs. The woman, the wife, she was commended because of her faithfulness. She was able to fulfill her duty being a wife faithfully. So that is why she was being praised. She was commended. Mother Teresa of Calcutta from India, she's also telling us about God calling each one of us, that we are called not to be successful, but to be faithful. When I was in a seminary, one of my the thoughts that I hang on my door is, my vocation is not to be successful, but to be faithful. So we are all called to be faithful in all the things that we do. So we ask ourselves, what are these talents that God has entrusted to us? My dear friends, this is not just any specific skills or ability that we have, but it is about God entrusting to us the world, God entrusting to all of us His creation. God has entrusted to us our very life. God has entrusted to us the sacrament, the beauty of the Eucharist, the virtues, everything that we have, my dear friends. They are all entrusted to us by our God. Say, for instance, God has implanted the virtue of goodness in our hearts. So what is it that we're gonna do? So God is inviting us to let that seed of goodness to grow, to develop, to be shared, to be spread, but not to be hidden, not to be buried. Because if we do so, my dear friends, we will be likened to the third servant in our gospel. Everything was taken away from him. Just imagine, my dear friends, that even the least that we have, even that small things that we have, will be taken away from us. I cannot just imagine that if I have happiness, it would be taken away from us. If I have sadness, it would be taken away from him. If I have pain, it would be taken away from me. So what would be left from me? There's no emotion, there's no feeling. I can no longer feel pain. I can no longer feel sadness. So it is as if I am stone or a log. And that would be the worst thing that would be ever happen to me if I would become the third servant in our gospel reading today. So that is why Jesus is continuously inviting all of us. We are all stewards of God's graciousness. Our parish, my dear friends, we have a lot of things going on in our parish. Yes, last Sunday, we had a ministry fair. So we are all invited to be partakers of the things that are going on in our parish. We have the youth ministry. We have the family in life. We have the 12 baskets. We have the liturgy. We have the prison reintegration. We have the momentum. We have many formation being offered in our parish today. That beautiful study about the Blessed Virgin Mary every Tuesday and Friday with Ronnie, it was a wonderful thought, wonderful experience that I have encountered. To accept, to think that I am a priest, and we have studied that during our Mariology in theology in seminary, and yet when I listen to that, there's still more to learn. There's still more to gather, my dear friends. So we have a lot of things going on in our parish, and we are all called to partake. To the Filipino communities, come on. Alam ko, marami sa inyong marunong kumanta. You have a lot of, you know how to sing. So we have here our kuya, our tito, our tita. I could always remember Clara, the daughter of Ronnie. After the Mass, she would go here in piano and practice. I encourage you to continue that, because sometime or someday you will be like your Uncle Phil Brown. Know how to really play the piano. So you have your big sisters here. So we are all encouraged. We have all God has given us talents. God has given us everything. So let us not waste these talents. Maybe this parable also, there are some thoughts, negative thoughts. They say that maybe, just maybe, the third servant did not work well because God is unjust. Because he was saying, he gave 5 talents to other. He gave 2 talents to other. But then I only received 1. So we may thought that it is unjust. But to tell you, my dear friends, God is never unjust. All of us are given the graces equally. We are likened to a cup or a glasses. There is a medium, small, medium, large. But the outpouring of God's graces is overflowing. So that's why we cannot say that He is full and I'm not. Because everyone received the overflowing grace of our God. So let us, my dear friends, make the most of it. We are all partakers of God's grace. So let us share this gift of God. Let us spread this gift of God to us all. Lastly, my dear friends, this parable of the tenants is we can say it is as an icon of the spirituality of stewardship. It is because it is telling us that everything that we have is given. That is the very words of St. Paul to his letter to the Corinthians. That what we have, who we are, is a grace from our God. So that is why we must share it. But the sad reality, my dear friends, most often is that we entertain that illusion. We entertain the thought that we are the owner, not just as stewards. So that's why there is an abuse. Because we thought that we are the owner of the creation. We thought that we are the owner of our lives. This is my life, and nobody could say anything about my life. So we have forgotten, my dear friends, that we are mere stewards of our God. God has given us all this gift in order for us to deepen our faith relationship with Him in order for us to widen our faith understanding with our God. So my dear friends, let us ask the intercession of our dear Mother Mary, the Blessed Virgin, under the title Stella Maris. We always ask her, we always pray to her, because we know that by holding on to the hands of our Mother Mary, surely He is the surest way towards her Son, Jesus. I watched an interview of a 96-year-old priest. He was asked, "Father, for 56 years being a priest, what was your secret?" He said, "I devote my life to the Blessed Virgin Mary. I held her hands because I know that Mary is the surest way towards her Son, Jesus." So, my dear friends, as stewards of God, we are all invited to be vigilant, to be ready for the second coming of our Lord Jesus.